The story of the famous Krupp Steel and Arms Works began in the feudal Middle Ages with Arndt Krupp, a wealthy merchant. His heirs built the Krupp foundry located in the Ruhr Valley area of Germany, whose underground deposits of coke, coupled with abundant forest for charcoal, led to the making of the legendary quality that Krupp steel became so famous for. By the turn of the century, the Krupp works had grown to enormous proportions, and with this immense growth came recognition and honor within the German government. The Krupp family had now become a dynasty of enormous wealth, rivaling many smaller nations in their financial might. The Krupp family bought oil and mineral rights throughout Europe, finally owning the best of everything that was available to produce the armaments they had become so famous for. The story of Krupp and the family ties that bound the industrial empire together is a fascinating study of a dynasty in transition, constantly growing and improving its products and technology to maintain their lead in the cutting edge of steel production. Krupp cannon and artillery of all sizes were ordered from numerous nations and used in battles and campaigns up until the end of World War II. Many of Krupp's more famous achievements are well known, such as Big Bertha, the massive mortar made for the Kaiser during World War I that could fire its yard-long explosive shells some 9 miles. By World War II, the Krupp works had developed massive railway cannon that could send a shell from France all the way to England, the biggest of which fired automobile-sized projectiles some 140 miles to land on the astonished English. To this day, many of the survivors of these long-range bombardments still believe they were being attacked by high-altitude bombers. Large numbers of field artillery pieces, such as the 5-centimeter mountain gun in our film, were used by many of the world's armies. During the Palestinian campaign, the Turks, along with German gun crews, wreaked havoc on the British forces as they broke through British lines and attempted to make their way to the vital waterway of the Suez Canal. During this push southward, many Krupp Mountain guns were used because of their ability to be broken down easily by a few men and packed on mules quickly to keep up with the advance of the troops. While in the end the Turks were unsuccessful in their assault on the British, even during their retreat back up into Palestine, the Krupp cannons, along with their well-trained German gun crews, maintained a withering artillery barrage on the British forces, using both high explosive and canister shot, which cost the British many casualties.
Fire! The object of our story is this Krupp 5-centimeter model 1903 new pattern mountain cannon. This was an export product intended for overseas use. Let's take a closer look at it now. The 50-millimeter barrel is 75 centimeters in length and weighs 135 pounds. At the muzzle is a large offset front sight. At the breech end of the barrel is the adjustable rear sight. Should the cannon be emplaced on uneven ground, this screw and this spirit level are used to cross-level the rear sight. On the right-hand side of the sight base is the elevating screw, and on its spindle is a throw-out lever that allows rapid changes in elevation to be made. This screw is used to put windage to the rear sight aperture. Both the rear sight staff and the crosshead are graduated for adjustment. On the right side of the breech, we see the lanyard hookup ring, the safety and takedown knob, and the large lever opens the breech. The 50-millimeter bore is rifled with 20 grooves, right-hand twist. The carriage weighs 300 pounds and is of forged Krupp steel. The left side of the carriage carries the elevating handwheel. The extreme depression that can be put on the barrel shows that this was designed for shooting downhill. The right-hand side of the carriage carries the handspike in its travel position. Also visible is the takedown pin for axle removal. Halfway down the trail are the pin and key that hold the carriage together. Further down the trail is the spade in its carry position and the attaching points for the handspike. This pin and lever lock the spade into its action position. Now let's look at some of the ammunition for this cannon. Originally, it would have fired an explosive shell of this type against material and entrenched troops. Notice the percussion nose fuse and the copper rotating band. A time-fused shrapnel round would have been used against troops in the open. For close-range defense of the gun position, a canister round would have been used. This round is made up of a thin metal envelope containing 150 caliber lead balls packed in sawdust, a devastating round against massed infantry at close range. For modern target practice, we would use this round. The case is made from 40mm Borifer's brass, cut and turned down. 50 caliber primers provide ignition. The powder charge is made up from 3.5 ounces of FG black powder sealed in a plastic bag. These cork wads go on top of the powder to fill up airspace in the cartridge casing. As you can see, the projectile is a hollow point 2-pound lead casting. The point filled with plaster, the projectile sized and painted, it is affixed to the case. And that completes our instruction on the ammunition. Now let's pack up the gun and go campaigning. Broken down for pack animal transport, the gun makes 3 loads. The barrel and wheels on the first animal, the carriage parts on the second animal, and the ammunition and accessories on the third. Now, let's watch as the weapon is assembled.
Prepare to march. March!
As the gun is dragged to its position on the ridge, the scene is reminiscent of the battle between the British and the Turks in the desert between Palestine and the Suez Canal. It is easy to visualize the sweating German gun crew supporting the hard-pressed Turkish infantry. Let's watch this gun crew as they place the gun in position and prepare for action. The setting is much like it was at the original Battle of Wadi Arish.
Send up the ammunition! Prepare for action!
A shallow trench is dug to receive the spade that keeps the gun from recoiling excessively. The trench must be long enough so that the trail of the cannon can be traversed left or right for target acquisition. The spade retaining strap is unfastened and the spade is moved from the travel position to the action position and locked in place. The next step is to remove the handspike from its fastening and install it in its action position. The number 3 man takes the lanyard and hands it to the number 1 man, while the number 2 man removes the muzzle cover. The lanyard is attached. Peering through the battery commander's scope, our Turkish liaison officer selects a target well within our 3,000-meter range.
You may fire, fellow table.
The gunner takes his place at the sights and the number 3 man at the handspike. First the sights are cross-leveled, then the gun is shifted to target.
Range.
1,020 meters. This is a 1.25 meter Gertz rangefinder from World War I. It can range a target out to 15,000 meters.
With the data supplied by the range observer, the gunner can set the rear sight to the proper graduation. With the sights set, the barrel is elevated until the sights are on target.
Load.
Set.
Ranging shot. Fire.
The first shot is low, forming the lower perimeter of the bracket. The gunner now elevates the piece to find the upper perimeter of the bracket.
Load.
Set.
Ranging shot. Fire.
Our second shot strikes in line and above the target, forming the upper perimeter of the ranging bracket. With the target now bracketed, it is now a simple matter to fine-tune the elevation to put the gun on target.
Load.
Set.
Ranging shot. Fire.
This final ranging shot shows that some corrections are in order.
Load.
Set.
Continuous fire. Fire.
At this time, with the target bracketed, the order is given by the NCO to fire on the target for effect.
Cease fire.
While our first target was a distant 1,000 meters, our next target is somewhat closer and will not require the bracketing procedure of range acquisition used with targets at greater distances. The officer now advises the gunner as to his target.
There.
Fire when ready.
Yes, sir. Range.
575 meters.
Our first shot will be a simple ranging round.
Load.
Set.
Ranging shot. Fire.
Our ranging shot shows that we are directly in line with the target, requiring only a decrease in elevation for a hit.
Load.
Team already. Set. Team.
Commence firing.
As you can see, our target has been in numerous previous battles. Today, our first shot penetrated this door right here, passing through the cab and blowing out the other door. Our second shot penetrated the chassis right here. It broke up as it passed through and splattered against the other side of the chassis. Our third shot penetrated the bed at this point, continued across the bed, breaking up against the other side. However, some of the pieces had enough energy left to penetrate through the other side of the bed.
Infantry advance.
With silhouette targets simulating an infantry advance, canister rounds are called for.
Bring up the canister number 3. Load!
Set.
Fire! Load!
Set.
Fire! Load!
Set.
Fire! Load!
Set.
Fire!
At 150 meters, the shotgun effect of the canister rounds
Cease
are
fire!
devastating to the targets. An indirect fire mission has been called for. The target will be the camp on the Arish Heights. On the ridge opposite the camp, across the Wadi El Arish, an observation post has been established to direct fire on the camp. At the observation post, the observer establishes a line of sight from the target to the gun position. The gun position is now set in line with the observation post. Now, a direct line of fire is approximated.
This is a Zeiss Model 1905 aiming circle. It is used for establishing angles.
Aiming stake is now set up halfway between the gun and the observation post. And communication lines for the telephone are run out. A second aiming stake is erected at the observation post. The gun is now aimed along these posts, which mark an invisible line to the target. The range is taken from the observation post to the gun battery and telephoned in.
Range from OP to gun position.
Range from OP to gun position.
1900 meters.
Range from OP to target.
Range from OP to target.
Next, the range from the observation post to the target is established.
Range from OP to target.
340 meters.
340.
Using the combination of ranges, the quadrant can be set.
The gunner's quadrant is used to lay the gun in elevation when indirect or night firing is undertaken. This arm contains a spirit level and moves along a graduated arc. By setting the arm and then elevating the barrel, and the elevation is set.
Load. Fire.
All right, that was 30 yards high and 30 yards to the right.
Range correction.
30 down, 30 left.
Load. Set. Fire.
Range correction. 50 meters up.
Load. Set. Fire. Perfect.
That's a direct hit.
On target.
Fire.
Orders have been received for a pre-dawn bombardment. This type of fire is valuable for harassing the enemy. To achieve this, the weapon is pointed towards an aiming stake in line with the target.
There.
And the quadrant will be used for setting elevation.
Prepare for night bombardment.
During this early morning bombardment, the aiming stake is illuminated by a lantern so that the gunner can keep the gun's sights aligned with the target. The gunner uses the quadrant to set the elevation for the range to the target, and the gun is elevated.
Load.
Set.
Continuous fire. Fire.
Set. Set. Set.
Ceasefire.